Hello, world. Are you okay? It's time for your weekly dose of inspiration. You're watching World Humanitarian Drive's 30-second episode of Inspiring Millions Show. This is the show where we celebrate brilliant minds from around the world who share with us their story, one story at a time. Today, our featured guest is Leah Chowdhry, founder of pop-up party and play.co.uk. Let's get to know her inspiring story in a short while. Thank you for joining us live or on replay. I'm Viva O'Flynn, your host and Global Media Relations of World Humanitarian Drive. World Humanitarian Drive, also known as WHD, is an international NGO founded in Croydon, UK, by British Indian global peace activist, entrepreneur, writer, Dr. Abdul Basit Saeed. The primary vision of WHD is to promote peace, education, and trade harmony initiatives globally among everyone across the world, regardless of race, gender, religion, or nationality, living as one family. WHD is striving for humanity. This Inspiring Millions show is your show. As always, we encourage you to engage and interact with us. Please help us spread inspiration to the world by sharing this link. Put your questions that you would like to ask our guest, Leah Chowdhry, greetings or comments that you have for us in the comments box. We will read them later on in the show. Let us also know where you are watching this. Wherever you are in the world, let us keep you company and brighten your day as we share peace, love, and goodwill. The month of September is International Self-Awareness Month and International Speak Out Month. These awareness themes are made for you to know and remember that you matter. To drive that point home, today, the 10th of September, is World Suicide Prevention Day. In this week's episode of Inspiring Millions Show, our honorable guest is self-aware, speaks out to inspire others to value and love themselves, and she also helps out charities in maximizing good. Leah Chowdhry is the first British Asian woman to swim across the English Channel in 2018. With the help from family, friends, and generous donations, she raised thousands of pounds for charity. She is named Woman of the Year 2018 by the London Asian Business Awards and the Most Inspiring Young Person of 2019 by the Asian Voice Charity Awards for her work with children through her business and charity work. Shortlisted for Best Community Champion by Best Business Award and Most Generous Philanthropy in 2019 and 21st Icon Awards for raising £175,000 for charities, including becoming the first British Asian woman to swim across the English Channel in 2018. Leah speaks at a number of conferences and events around the UK, inspiring others to create an achiever's mindset. Leah helps them to achieve their goals in life with the principles and framework she has created after swimming the English Channel and founding her award-winning business, Pop-Up Party and Play. Here is more about Leah Chowdhry. Let us watch this video.
keep going, because if I stopped, I would get cold. There was seaweed all over me and getting all in my eyes. I had a jellyfish at one point wrapped over my eyes and I had to rip it off. It was tangled around my arm. That was probably one of the toughest points. A lot of people asked me when I was swimming the channel what I was thinking about for 14 hours and 44 minutes. And I think it was mainly two things. Firstly, what I was doing it for, the charity, those children, when I went out to visit them in Mumbai, I visited the brothels where they were living if I hadn't come in and supported them. And it was horrendous. Their living conditions, their whole house was underneath one plank of wood. And that's exactly what I was thinking about, that I needed to do this for them and raise as much money as I could. And I think it was also the support of my family and the friends and the people who donated and the people who had really trusted that I could do this challenge, and I didn't want to let them down. So those are two things that I kind of kept on thinking about throughout the whole entire swim. I think the greatest moment of the whole entire swim would have to obviously when I finished. I actually finished on a beach in France, which is very, very unlikely. It's a 1% chance I would actually finish on a beach. Hundreds of people came running down from their house and greeted me. I came swimming onto the shore, I cleared the water, and they were all cheering, gave me a standing ovation, and I think that was definitely the best moment.
Let us all welcome the founder of pop-up party and play.co.uk, first ever British Asian woman to swim the English Channel, who considers it her mission to bring out a better future in every child. Here to inspire the world today is Miss Leah Chowdhry.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome and thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing so far.
Thank you, Leah. You're so inspiring. So, Leah, could you please introduce yourself to the world and share a brief story about you?
Yeah, so I think we've had an amazing introduction from yourself about what I do. So my name is Leah Chowdhry and I am the founder of Pop-Up Party and Play. I'm the first British Asian woman to swim the English Channel. Like you mentioned just a minute ago, my mission, I feel, in life is to help children, give them the voice when they can't always be heard, and make sure that every single child has the rights that they deserve. And I do that through a number of different ways. We're working with different charities. I'm writing a book. I've raised £175,000 for charity, different children's charities, and hopefully continue to do that and hopefully inspire other people to do the same.
Leah, so you're the first recorded British Asian woman who swam the English Channel at 26 years old. So now you're 29 and you raise donations for British Asian Trust. Could you please tell us the reason behind it?
Yeah, so my story actually began a lot before I was 26 years old. I am of Indian heritage. I was born in the UK, but I went back when I was about 6 or 7 years old to go visit India for the first ever time. And I think that's where my journey started. I remember exactly the point when I was sitting in Delhi traffic and I was in the car with my mum and dad, and this little girl came up to the window and she was knocking on the window. She looked all disheveled and like very unkept, and she had a little sibling, I think it was on her on her hip. And I remember her being exactly the same age as me, and she was gesturing in her mouth, and I looked at my mum and she was like, she's gesturing for food or money. And I was just so shocked at the age of 7 that I don't understand how our lives were so different. Even though we were exactly the same age, we were both originally our families were both from India, but why was my life so different? So from that point, I was like, I need to make a difference. And I didn't know at 7 years old what I could do. I was 7. And so I kind of thought, like, what means a lot to me? What can I give up? What can I sacrifice at this age to do something that will cause like hardship in my life? And it sounds really silly, but at the time I was like, oh, I love chocolate, sweets and fizzy drinks, I'm going to give that up. So I ended up giving it up for a year, and not with the aim of raising any money, more just awareness. And then some amazing people actually ended up donating. I think I raised about £1,000, and as a 7-year-old, that was a huge amount of money. And I went back to India the next year, and I bought some Braille books for a local blind school for children. And that's kind of where my journey started. And I kind of just wanted to go back as much as I could. And even within the UK, I help children's charities here. So yeah, at 26, the reason why I think I decided to swim the channel was because I had done a number of kind of charity events. I ran the London Marathon for UNICEF, and I think I got to the point where I was looking for something a little bit different. I wanted something a charity that really resonated with me. So one of my very good friends introduced me to the British Asia Trust, and I went out to Mumbai and visited one of their projects. So their project was actually in the red light district. It was young women who had been sold by their own families into the sex slave industry. And we actually went into these brothels, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever seen in my life. It was just so unkept. There was wires everywhere. It was rat infested. There was like 3 women in these tiny little rooms. I worked out when I got back, it was the same size as a UK prison cell. And all of their stuff and all their belongings were underneath these like raised benches that they had. And there was bruises, and there were no windows. And I was talking to one of the women, and she was like, I was brought here when I was very young, and I was tied to my bed for years to perform all these activities. And I was just on the brink of about to cry. And then all of a sudden, all of these children came running into this awful, awful conditions. And I was like, who are these children? And the lady that was showing me around was like, these are the children of the women that live here. And these children had to witness every single day their mothers having to perform these sexual activities on these men. And I, at that point, realized, I was like, I cannot live in a world, having at this point studied child psychology at university, I knew the psychological impacts that it's having on these children. And I said, I will not live in a world where this is happening to children and allowing it to happen. So I came back and I was like, I want to do something. I want to be able to create a safe haven for these children, even if it's next door or wherever it is, so that they don't have to witness this. So I decided that I wanted to do something ridiculous and crazy. And I was always a swimmer. And I was like, how about swimming to another country? And then I just did a bit of research, and I realized that swimming the English Channel is actually something that people do. Not many people do. And I would have been the first British Asian woman to do it. So I was like, if these children and women can risk their lives every day, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this so that when people ask me, why did you decide to swim the channel, I can voice their story. So that is the reason why I decided to swim the English Channel.
It's also great how you started helping charities at a young age. And sometimes charities just need extra help from ordinary people who accomplish extraordinary things. So you completed the 30-mile swim in just under 15 hours, despite obstacles like jellyfish, ship tankers, seasickness. So could you please tell us how you prepared for it?
It was a very hard time in my life. It was about a period of 2 years of training. I think before the training even began, it was about kind of actually going to my family and being like, this is something I want to do, because it's people die every year from trying to swim the English Channel. There's Asian parents who are overly protective, and it was about, okay, right, how am I going to have a plan? What am I going to do? There's a Channel Swimming Association that actually governs the swims. There's a lot of rules around it. So firstly, it was about preparing of like my family and friends, and then getting the best boat, getting the best coach, getting the best nutritionist. And then from that point, I think it was kind of, I trained about 10 hours a week for about 18 months of like in the pool training. But on top of that, it was hours of nutritional meetings and meal prep and physiotherapy and stretching. It very much became my full-time role alongside my company for about a year of my life. It was dedicated to this. In that period, it puts a lot of strain on your body. I got stomach infections. I lost a lot of hair through the chlorine. And because the water's so cold, you have to gain a lot of weight. So I ended up gaining about 10 kgs of pure fat as well, which is very, very difficult for anyone on their body image, their mental health. It's your body changing that much and struggling with the confidence. And people made comments during my journey of, like, I would go to weddings and aunties would come up to me and be like, oh, you've gained a lot of weight, and them not even understanding the reasons why I'm doing it, and that this challenge is bigger than me, and it's not something that I can articulate in a few words to an auntie who's making judgment.
And you also ran the London Marathon as well?
Yes, I did.
So that took mental and physical resilience as well. So why do you dedicate your time and efforts to helping children?
So the reason why I feel I focus my energy on children is I think that children I've always been, is a big passion of mine, firstly. Like, I've always, from a very young age, always wanted to help children. And I think that's because they are a group of individuals that don't always have a voice, and they're not always heard. They aren't always given the rights that they should be, basic rights. And I feel like as a woman, I should be able to give them their voice back, allowing them to make those choices of if they want to go to school, or if they don't want to go to school, if they want to, they should be able to choose. And I think my focus and effort has always been on that, because they don't always have a voice. I think that is for me.
So you were also named the Woman of the Year and Most Inspirational Young Person in 2019. So you've also been honored with a British Citizenship Medal for your contribution to the community. So what does that feel like? You keep on getting achievements like that. How does it feel?
It's extremely, it's such an honor. It's very humbling. I never went out with the intention of recognition. That's not the reason I do what I do. I love what I do, and I think I'm passionate about it. And the recognition is absolutely phenomenal. But it's not something, when you hear the most inspiring woman of 2019, or you get these awards, sometimes people forget that it's a team effort. I may be the face of it, and I may be receiving these awards, but it's the nights where I'm crying down to the phone to my mum because my body's hurting so much because I've trained so much and I can't get out of my bed. Or it's those calls to my dad where I'm like, I physically don't have enough money this month to pay my nutritionist, and I need the medical advice. Or if it's the emotional support from friends and family, just being like, Leah, today's going to be a tough day, and it's okay to have tough days. So I get these awards and they're amazing, and I'm so honored and I'm so blessed to have them. But I'm representing a team, a very big team behind me that deserves as much recognition. And it's amazing. I'm absolutely honored, to be honest with you.
You were also invited to the Buckingham Palace for dinner by Prince Charles for your swim across the English Channel because you raised £155,000 for charity. So what is the biggest challenge that you had to overcome so far?
I think for me, the biggest challenge I had to overcome was understanding the importance of mental strength. And something that's what I'm writing about at the moment. I'm just about to release a children's book, and understanding how important that is, if it's looking after it, or how powerful it is. And I think the biggest challenge I had to overcome was actually one point during my channel swim training was, at this point I had probably raised, I think it's £120,000 for charity. And part of the training, you have to go out and do a qualifying swim of a 6-hour qualifying swim in open water to pretty much tick you off so that you can go ahead and do the swim. So I went out to Croatia, and the day before my swim, I got in to do like a mere 2-hour swim. I tried to get in as a bit of a warm up, and I just collapsed. I got in after about 30 minutes, waves started pushing me under, I couldn't breathe, I was crying, tears were filling up my goggles. I just completely had utterly collapsed after 30 minutes. And my coach waved at me and pulled me out because it got very, very dangerous. And I sat in that boat and I realized I've got to do my 6-hour qualifying swim tomorrow. And if I don't qualify, I'm not doing this swim. And I've raised £125,000 for charity. All of these people have generously given me this money. There's those children out in India where I'm trying to save their lives, and their lives are on the line at this point. And it was just so much pressure. And I think for me, it was just about a moment of like stopping and reflecting. And I spoke to my mum and I was like, why have I failed here? How have I failed? And I think after analysing it, I had done the training, I had done the physical side of things, I had got my nutrition to the T. It was the mental thing for me. And I realised that doing this challenge was, I thought it was a 10% mental and 90% physical, but it was very much 50-50. And it was a psychological game at that point. And I had to psychoanalyze, and I had to understand, I had to process that I had done all the training and I was ready, but mentally I wasn't ready and I wasn't in that headspace. So over the next 24 hours, I journaled, I listened to tapes, I really mentally got myself ready for the swim the next day. And it was the next day I got in and somehow completed my 6-hour qualifying swim, despite the fact that I couldn't even do the 30 minutes swim the day before. So at that point, I realized this is a mental game and life is the same.
You've said the importance of mental strength. And then you have this acronym of FAIL, which is First Attempt in Learning. Could you tell us more about that?
So this acronym is very close to my heart because I think there's sometimes a negative association, especially within the Asian community, of failing and thinking that it's a bad thing. But actually for me, I feel that every single time I quote unquote fail, I'm one step closer to achieving my goals. If that be me getting pulled out the day before my qualifying swim, or me not being able to win or aspire an individual, it's actually, no, I'm now one step closer and I have more knowledge and I have more information and more confidence really to be able to do it the next time and actually tweak what I'm going to do and hopefully do it better. So fail as often as you can, because it is the best way to learn in my eyes.
That's a really good acronym of FAIL. So who are the people who have made the most impact on you, and who are those that you consider your inspiration?
Wow, that's a big question. I would say I would always have to start with my parents. I've been brought up in a community that there isn't always equality between genders. There's still a disparity in the 21st century between men and women, young girls and young boys. And I think what's inspired me about my parents is, despite the fact that I'm a woman and I was a girl, they never treated me and my brother any differently. They always pushed me. They always drove me to do better things, make myself better. And they were always my biggest cheerleaders. They always told me to smash stereotypes. They told me to challenge social norms. They always told me to think outside the box. And they were always the ones that kind of made me, they were my inspiration and my mentors. Also my grandparents, they were now passed, or sadly passed away, but they were always one that said, charity is so important. You have to give back, and you have to realize that you're blessed with a phenomenal life, that you have food on the table every night. There was always a tradition in our house where whenever we got our first paycheck, the whole first paycheck would go to charity. And it's about that seva, it's about that understanding of karma and giving back. And they very much installed that into me from very, very young age. So I would say that they're my inspirational role models.
Charity does start at home.
It does.
So you were the founder of Pop-Up Party and Play.co.uk. So could you please tell us more about Pop-Up Party and Play? What inspired you to start it?
So what Pop-Up Party and Play is we provide mobile childcare to corporates, at weddings, to parents all over the world, not only in the UK, but Europe and Asia and everywhere. The idea behind this was trying to make childcare more accessible to parents. I was previously working in a very large corporation where I was blown away by the idea that how could we not support working parents? And I just thought, why is there nothing out there that makes childcare flexible? And we need to make sure that it's kind of brought up to the 21st century. So I decided to provide mobile childcare. So I go into offices, I go into homes, I go work at weddings, I work at restaurants, and we provide like a mobile facility that makes it more flexible, so that children can be looked after, allowing parents to work and have an amazing kind of work-life balance, so they can continue to carry on doing what they want.
So we have a short video about Pop-Up Party and Play, so let's watch it. That's great. So what would you consider the achievements of Pop-Up Party and Play?
I think that one of the biggest achievements was this story that I had. We were popping up at WeWork, which is a office space, and we had provided childcare over half term. It was an October half term, and we had popped up for the week, which allows parents to not have to take annual leave over school holidays, and they could take annual leave at different times of the year. And if they've got deadlines, we can provide childcare. So parents will drop off their children in one of the meeting rooms where we provide kind of entertainment like mini discos and mini yoga and mini Olympics and arts and crafts and all this kind of activities, and they'll pick them up at lunch, and then they'll have lunch with them and then drop them back off in the afternoon, and then after work they'll come down and pick them up. So there was this one time I was doing the handover at the end of the day, and a mother came up to me, and her eyes started welling up, and she looked like she was about to cry, and I was like, what's happened at work? I'm really worried, and I was like, are you okay? And she was just like, Leah, you don't understand, you've changed my life. And I was like, what? What's happened? She goes, I'm a single mother of 2 children, and I can't afford to take my children away on holiday over the school holidays because it's just too expensive for a single mother. But because of your childcare, I'm able to save my annual leave. and take it in a non-school holidays. And I've just booked a flight for my children, and they're going on their first flight in 2 months' time because of your services that you've popped up in our workspace. And I was nearly in tears myself. And she was like, you've changed my life. You've allowed them to experience their first holiday. They're going to go see the sea for the first time. And you've allowed that because you've provided that childcare during school holidays so that we can go later on in the year when it's not so expensive and I can take annual leave. And then that's when I realized that this is why I'm doing what I do. I want to be able to give working parents the opportunities to be able to continue to work and continue with their passions and succeed and make a difference in their own way, and shouldn't ever be hindered because they have children. They should feel like it's an added value to it. And that's all I want to do with my company.
You get all these heartwarming stories from parents. So what is it like to be a young Asian female CEO?
It's been amazing. It comes with its own challenges, of course. The stereotypes about an Asian woman being a CEO, and I started at a very young age. I started my company when I was about 26. So it was, I was young, a lot of learning on the way, a lot of failed attempts, first attempts in learning. This is where I came up with this. I think the best advice I could give to a young woman or an Asian woman or anyone who wanted to start their own company is come from a place of passion, come from a place of loving what you want to do, because then not one day in your life ever feels like working. I get up in the morning and I'm like, I really want to do this. What can I do? What event can I do? How can I inspire someone? And when you come from a place of passion, ideas are generated quicker. You are in a more positive mind, your headspace. You inspire more people. Your employees around you feel that energy. And I think just be very passionate about what you do, and money and everything else will follow suit.
Come from a place of passion. That's very spot on. So it was International Day of Charity last Sunday. Why should people get involved with charities?
So I think every person is very personal in terms of how they want to give back or kind of work with charities. I think there's a lot of charities out there that do some incredible things. Again, I think it's just about, for me, I really researched around charities and worked out what their mission was. What would they like to do? How do they do it? How do they execute it? What way do they execute it? And kind of working out what values they had and if it aligned with what I believe in a day-to-day basis. And I think when I found charities like the British Asian Trust and Cancer Research and Bernardo's, when I found that these charities align with what I do and what my mission in life is, then I was like, I'm ready to support these people. I think it's also very important to remember that working with charities doesn't always mean physical money. You don't have to give money or swim a channel or run a marathon or do something crazy as I'm doing. It's sometimes just donating half a day of your time a month to go in and maybe volunteer or support in some way. There's so many ways you can support charities and the amazing work they do, and it's not always monetary. So I don't want individuals to ever feel that they have to be a certain level of wealth or anything like that. Anyone from as young as 6 years old, 7 years old, like I did, to a 70-year-old or 80-year-old can do this. And I think that's a very important message from my book, is that I want people to, who, however young, old they are, they should always give back as much as they can and get involved in charity, because you can.
That's great. So I'm just looking through the messages of our virtual audience. We have a message from, a question from Tonggi Gra, and he is asking, do you have any plans for future challenges like the crossing of English Channel?
So after swimming the English Channel, unfortunately I got very sick. So I I got a very bad stomach infection. So I was in and out of hospital for about a year. I just could not diagnose what it was. I had multiple tests. I ended up pretty much being sick every time I ate. So after about a year, I went to a clinic and worked out that I was actually became very lactose intolerant. And I've got a lot of allergies. So I think I wanted to, at that point, really reflect and focus about what impact I want to do next. And I think when I sat down and reflected, I kind of understood a very important idea is that there's a pond, and if you can drop a pebble in a pond and it creates a rippling effect, and you can impact so many thousands of people by potentially only impacting one person. So if I told my story to yourself and you spoke to 3 people and they spoke to 3 people, and I think that's my next challenge. I want to go out and I want to talk about what I've done, and I want to, with my book, I'm hoping to it's actually going to charity, it's going to Bernardo's, all the proceeds. And I think I want to get my book out and get my message out so children can hear it, and hopefully they're inspired and they go out and maybe do some charity work or do something that they didn't think was possible before reading my book. And I think the next challenge may not be a physical one, but it's one that's hopefully speaking about what I did and hopefully making a ripple effect so that it will inspire others, because it may inspire 7 other people to swim the channel.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your story today, for inspiring us. So I'm also looking through more messages, and Wynn's got this question: what was your special diet before you crossed the English Channel?
So my diet was very high in protein for recovery. So I had lots of protein, but actually I was on about 3,200 calories a day because I needed to gain weight, and I was burning so many through 2 hours minimum of swimming almost every day. So a lot of calories, a lot of protein, and a lot of sleep and a lot of water. I think that's what my diet consists of. And it was just, a lot of carb loading. So lots and lots of carbs as well. It's a lot of food.
Yeah, must have been good to just eat whatever you wanted to eat at that time. And also because of what you did swimming the English Channel, there was also a point that you got sick. So you also managed to lose as well what you stored up. Was that it?
Yeah, so I was very unwell after my swim. So I had gained about 10 kgs of weight, so about 20 pounds, just over a stone. And I ended up losing a bit of it on the swim, but actually I had to go on a very strict diet afterwards to kind of reverse that weight loss. And it wasn't as easy to lose than it was to put on. I can tell you that. It took a very strict diet and a very strict regime to lose that weight after. Unfortunately, I didn't lose as much as I'd like on the swim or afterwards being sick. So it was a very strict routine of diet and exercise afterwards.
So Leah, it is, Suicide Prevention Day today. So what would you say to someone who is going through a difficult time?
For me, I think anytime I've had difficulty with anything, I try and talk about it. Like if it's with family or friends, for me, it's something that's like when I get in my own head, I can overanalyze and over worry. And I think the most important thing is to try, if you can, talk about it. So talk about it and seek help if you can. If that means just non-professional help initially, and then kind of building up the courage, but also remembering that it's also okay, like, to feel the way you're feeling right now, and like it will get better. And it's about taking every day as it comes. And it's always going to be the bad days. There will be bad days, but it's about, was yesterday better than today? And even if it was a smidge better, then that's amazing. And I think my kind of message when it comes to Suicide Awareness Day is that it worries me how much Asian men in particular don't talk about this subject, and it's a taboo around it, and we need to be smashing these social, like, these ideas that it's wrong or it's weakness to talk about mental health. And I think it's a hard thing to go through, and it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength that you're getting help and you are trying to make yourself better.
September is also Self-Awareness Month. Why should people be self-aware?
I think self-awareness is one of the most important qualities to have in an individual. Actually, my mum wrote a book about self-awareness, and she's always been someone that's encouraged that within us. And if that's through reflection, or if it's through kind of talking about it or journaling, and I think it is just about understanding where your strengths lie and understanding where your weaknesses are, and playing into them. Like, as a CEO, I know that in certain situations that I may not be the best individual to go into it and do something or achieve something, and I've built a team around me that have got strengths where my weaknesses lie, and understanding that it doesn't make you a weak person, but actually makes you a stronger person, because you recognize that this isn't my strength, and I'm willing to allow other individuals to support me in this particular area of my life. And having that self-awareness can take you to the next level, and it can take you to the next level in business, in charity, and anything. So having that self-awareness is so important, and it's essentially the fundamental of starting a lot of things.
So September is also International Speak Out Month. What would you like to tell people who are afraid of speaking out for what they believe in?
I think, firstly, it's very important to acknowledge the fear, and that's okay. The fear around speaking out, because in some cases it's the danger of your life. And that's okay. But it's also that aspect of, I spoke out. I was actually once in a swimming pool in a full swimsuit, and a man came over to me and said, "I think it's inappropriate that you're wearing a swimsuit in a public pool." And I had to speak out about it. Like, even though the Asian community may be like, "Oh, she's wearing this," or "She's looking like that," you have to have that courage, because I personally don't want these social norms to be passed on to the next generation. And I think that's where my drive comes from. There may be fear about speaking out, but it's about that lasting change, and that change to the next generation. And I think that's so important to me. Like, if it means a couple of months of negative lashback to make sure that this is changed for my children and my nieces and nephews and the next generation, I'm willing to do that, because I know it's right. And when you're coming from a place of like, you know, this is right, it feels right. And it may be scary and hard, but when you've come from that place of knowing it's the right thing, that will carry you through.
That's very important. So you have to speak out to create change. Let's just go to World Humanitarian Drive. Having a World Moral Day initiative, it's to emphasize the significant need to practice morality in the minds of every individual in this world. So WHD is making a petition for the UN to declare 2nd of September as World Moral Day, because it's the end of World War II. So in your opinion, how important is this initiative to have World Moral Day in these times? And why is it important to have morals in today's world?
I think it's an incredible initiative, and definitely something I would be supporting, and definitely the 2nd September, brilliant time after the end of the war. I think morals are things that actually unite us as human beings. It's something that aligns us and creates community between us all. We all have morals, and we should all have morals. And And I think that's so important. And I think from that point, you can take action, or you can make decisions from, if it's your values or your morals, or kind of, okay, as a community, we've decided that this is important to us. If it's helping with children's rights, or if it's deciding to make a change and morally this is right for me, but from that point of those morals, action can be taken and difference can happen. So I think it's so important.
Thank you for that. So what are your future plans? Do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to promote? And how could our virtual audience get in touch with you online and support your humanitarian efforts?
So yes, my next project is writing my children's book. So that will be released hopefully in the next couple of months. So this book is called Making a Splash. And it's about my story of how I started my charity work at a very young age and running the London Marathon, and then going on to swim the English Channel. And it's a children's book, hopefully inspiring young children to get involved with charity as much as they can. There's little exercises at the back of the book, and also kind of helping them understand that they can achieve anything that they want in life. If that is becoming a cricketer or a doctor, or they should never put limits on themselves, and using my story hopefully as inspiration. The book is going to be published, and all the proceeds are going to be going to Bernardo's, the charity. So we are looking for sponsorship of the book. So if you were interested in buying books, maybe for your schools or as Christmas presents, or maybe for your employees' children, or kind of just spreading the message, or buying the book, please do contact me. You can either contact me on my Instagram, which is Leah Chowdhry, or our company Instagram, which is Pop Up Party and Play. And then, yeah, I would love for you to support, or just get in touch if you've got questions or would like to ask me anything. And our website, there's also our contact information there, which is www.popuppartyandplay.co.uk.
So let's watch out for that. Making a Splash book by Leah, coming out soon. So what is your inspiring message to the world?
I think one lesson, if I could give, kind of put it in a couple of sentences of what I would pass on to the world, is I just think that do what you believe and what you're passionate about, and make a difference doing it. If that may be setting up a company and changing the world in that way, or if it's working with charities and changing individuals' lives, like coming from a place of passion and changing the world, just do it. I think that's my message. Like, nothing is ever impossible, and it's all in your mind, and we can achieve anything we want. I was the first British Asian woman to swim the Channel. If people had said to me, the amount of people that said to me that I could not achieve it, and it's all down to your mindset. So getting that right mindset, you can achieve anything you want in life.
Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence, sharing your words of wisdom, expertise, and inspiring the world with your story in honor of international recognition for your virtue and persistently serving and inspiring humanity with your noble deeds. World Humanitarian Drive would like to award you with Inspiring Humanitarian Award, signed by our chairman, Dr. Abdul Basit Saeed, signed today. So congratulations, Leah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your noble deeds, and congratulations. And here's to many more humanitarian works.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Leah Chowdhry, founder of Pop-Up Party and Play.co.uk and first ever British Asian woman to swim the English Channel. We would like to share a quotation by our honorable guest, Leah Chowdhry. You should never be afraid to be different. Stay true to yourself. You will unleash incredible potential. Thank you so much, Leah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion with Leah Chowdhry, that it motivated you to make a difference and help out charities in your own way. Here on Inspiring Millions Show, we present you with brilliant people from around the world. So feel free to connect with them on social media, and together, let's make a difference in the world. If today's discussion inspired you, please like it, share it, send us a comment. Do share with us your takeaways from today. Follow us on our social media accounts. Click subscribe on our YouTube channel, WHD Media. Visit our WHD website, www.whd.org.uk for more inspiring events. And we would like to share another announcement with you. With World Moral Day, WHD would like to congratulate the winners of World Moral Day competition and thank everyone who took part in them. So September is World Moral Month of WHD. Join us for World Moral Day event, which is happening on Malaysia Day. That is on Thursday, 16th of September, 1 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Malaysia time. We will have inspiring guest speakers. It's organized by Professor Dato Dr. G.P. Doraisamy, Secretary General of WHD Malaysia. Everyone stay safe and healthy. These are times we should strengthen our bodies, minds, emotions, and our faith. Please remember to have compassion, be kind to yourself, others, and our planet. The world needs us to awaken, to wake up to our greatest selves. To our frontliners, we salute you. We thank you for your hard work, sacrifices, and dedication to humanity. Love and virtual hug to you all. To all those celebrating their birthdays and special milestones this week, happy celebrations. Have a wonderful weekend. On behalf of WHD team, especially those working behind the scenes, WHD Chairman Dr. Abdul Basit Saeed, WHD Director of Global Operations, Ms. Sarah Wilson, WHD's 12 Honorable Secretary Generals, we thank you, our virtual audience from around the world, for joining us and supporting our show. This has been World Humanitarian Drive's Inspiring Millions Show. I'm Viva O'Flynn. Please join us again next Friday. We will have a discussion with Honorable Professor Dr. Arben Malaj, former Finance Minister of Albania, as we inspire the world here on Inspiring Millions Show.